Okay. So on OPGG, I noticed that you took the armor shard instead of MR, and I think you should take magic resist because they have 3 AP threats in the Echo, Rise, and Heimerdinger, but they only have 2 AD threats in Pike and Fiora. And Fiora's gonna split push, so you won't really be fighting her, and Pike isn't gonna outdamage his 3 AP teammates, so it's probably better to take MR in this game. And then I saw that you took Aerie. I think that's fine because you have Jinx AD carry, so you just want to like scale. But personally, I would take Arcane Comet because Pike is a winnable lane for Janna because you can interrupt his Q channel and his E dash with your Q. So it's mostly a stylistic thing, but I would go Arcane Comet because I like to play aggressive. And then second of all, I would go Gathering Storm if you take Aerie, because if you take Scorch but not Comet, it's kind of weird because you're not like poking them with everything you have. So like it's like if you take Aerie, you should go Gathering Storm for scaling, and if you take Scorch, you should go Comet. Also because Scorch procs Comet and reduces the cooldown, so it's like you just take whatever synergizes with your keystone. Okay.
Minions have
I'm assuming you just leash. Oh. Okay, so Pike tried to cheese and used his Aftershock, so you can play really aggressive once he does that because he has no Q and no Aftershock. So you can like walk up early levels at level 1 and like just whack him with your autos. Because if you're not pushing for level 2, then you're not gonna win lane, because if Pike hits 2 first, then it's really risky to walk up. Because right now he hits 2 and you're still 1, so you have to walk all the way back. So Jinx has a flash, and then now the lane is really hard to win because Pike can just all-in Jinx whenever he wants. And also, I would not ignite at level 1 because Jinx level 1 is pretty bad. She has no follow-up, but that's fine. Ignite in this lane is kind of situational anyway. Oh wow. I think once he does that, you can walk up and auto one more time because he won't E you, so he's still going through the tower. So we can watch that again, make sure. Yeah, you can just whack him, because like, he has no follow-up, like he can't E. So you can just proc your Spell Thieves and get a little extra gold.
It's smaller than the diagram.
So basically, you're not trying to poke Heimerdinger because he has turrets and W, so he'll always outtrade you. You just look to poke Pike if you're safe, like you have minions, so he can't hook you, or if he wasted his hook. Pike is roaming. Yeah, you can try and like poke Heimerdinger. Well, you can walk up here. He has no turrets, and Pike is dead, so should be like walking up and pressuring him. Oh, Heimerdinger made a mistake because so if he goes like into the river and you and Jinx stand where you are right now, he can't walk back through you guys. So he has to go all the way around. So you can just like stand here and just like zone him. Oh, if you walk back, then yeah, he can walk this way. And then you lose the pressure. So basically if he like goes in the river randomly, and you can just stand here, you should do that, because he has to go the long way. You should help Jinx push, because Pyke died, so there's no threat. Like, you're not gonna die if you push. So if you help Jinx push, you can recall faster, and then you have a good back timing, because Heimerdinger will be farming all of this while you guys are walking back into lane. And then you can push in the next wave and either force Heimerdinger to stay or force him to teleport. Although this is okay too, because it's a cannon wave, so it'll take a long time for him to push. Oh. Okay, so Fairy Charm is not very good on Janna because, like, one, you're not very mana hungry, and two, it only builds into Forbidden Idol and Chalice of Harmony, neither of which are very good in lane. So you usually want to build ability power so you can poke harder, because like you're not gonna use this mana regen, you're not spamming W off cooldown, you're not like spamming your E obviously because it has 18-second cooldown. So you also bought an extra Fairy Charm because like the third one isn't built into anything, so it's kind of a waste of space. Because you always want to like keep a slot open for boots, so that way you can like go faster. But if you build these, you have to build Forbidden Idol, and then you can build boots. But that's kind of a waste of space. So how much gold do you have? Oh yeah, so you can buy an Amplifying Tome instead of 3 Fairy Charms. It's probably better, because early game you just want AP so your abilities do more damage. If you're playing like Nami, then yeah, Fairy Charm is okay because you use a lot of mana, but Janna is not very mana hungry, so I wouldn't recommend getting Fairy Charms early. When Spell Thieves, when Spell Thieves used to like build into stuff, then yeah, you can get 1 Fairy Charm, but now you don't need Fairy Charms early game at all. So walking towards your team to help is a good idea in general, but in this case, let's watch what happens. So you know Pyke is going, so you should ping your team back. Okay, so right here, if you count the number of champions, you have 2, Akali, Elise, and they have 3, Echo, Pyke, Ryze. So you guys are already losing the fight, because Akali's low, and it's 3v1 basically on this Elise. So you going there isn't gonna help, because at best, it's 2v3. Assuming Elise dies, and Akali's still low, so you going there isn't really gonna do much to help your team, because there's no way you win once Echo shows up, and Elise is pretty much dead. So in this case, you should pink this bush and clear the ward you just saw. Or you can just help your AD carry push the lane, because if Pyke is here, then Heimerdinger won't be able to 1v2 and like kill you guys, so you can just push for free and force the wave into turret, and that way it's harder for them to like start dragon or something because the wave is at their tower. So basically, if there's nothing you can do to affect the outcome of a fight, don't fight. Or like, don't leave lane. Because you're losing XP, and you're not getting anything for your team. Oh, and Heimerdinger is here too, so... Best case scenario, like very, very best case, Elise lives, so it's 4v3. And you still don't win 4v3, so there's no point in you coming here. Because you can't save her, because she's surrounded. So yeah, just help your AD carry push, and then you can just wait, I guess, if you have nothing to buy. But usually if your AD carry can push, you should help them push. Okay, so walking here is extremely risky because you know it's warded. And like you know they're probably on dragon, but in case Heimerdinger was like going back to lane to catch this wave and Pyke is like standing here for some reason, then you might die. Like Pyke can hook you and then you'll land here and then like they'll hit the blast gun, you'll pop over and die. So beforehand you should like walk right here and put a pink ward here, and then you can walk this way and like look. But I think you shouldn't even be here because even if they're doing dragon, there's nothing you can do. Like it's super unlikely you'll steal it, and even if you do steal it you'll probably die, so there's really no reason for you to try and look. Echo, okay, so Echo did blue bite. And Pyke is mid. Okay. Yeah, so like there's nothing for you to do here. So if there's nothing for you to do in an area, then there's no point to go in there because it's all risk and no reward. Okay, so yeah, so you know this is warded. So if Elise is bot side, you should try and make sure that the enemy won't be able to see her. Because if they can see her, then your jungler has no pressure because she can't gank because it's super obvious. So you should pink here in this bush to deny this vision. Because if you pink here, it's a waste because you can't defend it against Pyke, Heimerdinger, and Echo if he's here. So like if you can't defend a pink ward, usually you should not put it because it'll just get killed. Like in this scenario, Pyke and Echo just killed it, and then you have no vision anymore. You have no pinks. Huh? Where's that going? Oh, that was really close. So like your lane is kind of screwed because it's pushing and Echo is bot side and Elise is leaving, so it's really, really hard to walk up. And if you walk up, then they'll just kill you. Alright, let's look at that again. So when you see that you have 3 minions and they have 2, and this one's about to die, then you know the wave is pushing towards them. And then, even though you have flash, Pyke can like QE, and if Echo's here, then like, even if you have flash, you won't be able to get away. So if you can't walk up without an escape plan, then you shouldn't walk up. You should ping your AD carry back. because it's too risky to walk up to try and push. And did Pike disappear in vision? Let's see. Oh, he walks into the bush and then does it. Yeah, that's pretty smart. But if you can't see Pike, you should always consider his threat range. So, like if, let's assume he's like right here, right? Then his threat range is his hook range, which is like around here maybe. But if he's invisible and you can't see him, then you should assume that everything you can't see plus his hook range is his threat range. So since you can't see him in this bush, you should assume that he can W, walk all the way here, and then like hook. So his threat range when he's not visible is a lot higher than when he's visible. So you have to take that into account. I think that was just like a micro error. So you shouldn't walk up to Pike because you can't win, and you should probably save Tornado because your 0.25 seconds knockup isn't really going to do anything. So yeah, this mistake is really walking up in the first place, and the execution is a smaller point. But the major thing is, if it's too risky to walk up, then you shouldn't walk up. You should always consider if it's risky. Yeah, so Forbidden Idol, if you look at the stats on it, 50% mana regen is pretty useless because you're not using a lot of mana in this lane. And oh wow. And, 10 CDR is not very meaningful because your cooldowns are pretty long already. So like 1 second off your E cooldown isn't really gonna do anything. And then third, the heal and shield power is also useless because your shield is too long cooldown to make use of that. So Forbidden Idol is a pretty bad item early game. So you should always get like AP. For example, if you're going Ardent Censer, you should go Ether Wisp because it gives AP and move speed, which you like. And the alternative is Athene's, which builds from Fiendish Codex. So the item is pretty good if you can rush it, or you can just get like Amplifying Tome or Dark Seal plus boots because you like move speed and you don't have to upgrade your Amp Tome if you don't have the gold. I'd go Dark Seal if you're like winning lane or ahead. But in this lane, you're probably not gonna get a lot of kills, so maybe just Amplifying Tome plus boots to run away from Pike faster. Yeah. You didn't have to ignite, but I would probably still ignite. Unless we saw that he used E and W. Okay, so he uses E here. But yeah, we don't know if he used W, so... Oh, he has no mana. Yeah, it's fine. It's not really important. So you should Tornado like the backline, so your AD carry can push faster, and then you can go towards Dragon and start it. It's not a big deal, but... So when you see Echo's topside, you should spam Dragon, or spam ping Dragon, because Heimerdinger and Pike died. So if there's 2 top and 1 mid, then nobody is stopping you from doing Dragon, so you can just ping your AD carry and jungler to go for the Mountain Drake. So at this point, it's kind of late, because Heimerdinger and Pike will push the lane, and then you have to catch the wave. Well, Jinx has to catch the wave, and then you and Elise can do Dragon, but if Heimerdinger and Pike rotate towards it, then it's 2v2, and it's risky because Pike has R. And your 2v2 isn't very good as Janna. So you should ping maybe danger once. And then spam ping it if Heimerdinger and Pike are missing. So in this case, they probably don't even know. So it works out. We should always be careful. Oh yeah, okay, so they tried to steal it, but you guys got it. Oh, you can hard win this, so let's watch. So Pike misses Q and decides to E in anyway. So he has no way to run away or to kill you because he used his Q and E already, and his R isn't gonna execute you. So you can like hard punish him, like walk up, start raining your W's on him and your auto attacks because there's nothing you can do to stop you. So basically, like, if you think about what moves Pike has, he has Q and E, and you have your Q. But if Pike wastes both of his moves, then he has no more moves left. So you can just beat him up because there's nothing you can do. Yeah, like that. If he misses his Q and he can't E into the tower, you can just like press W on him and get 15 golds. So when you see Pike go missing, yeah, let's look at that again. Yeah, so you see Pike walking and killing your ward. So you have to assume that he's like, you saw him like move up towards like this area. So you have to assume that he's coming towards your jungler. So you have to stay by your jungler to protect her. Because otherwise, yeah, she just gets collapsed on in her own jungle. That was a good ult too. So you guys managed to outplay, but you should be there earlier because you know Pike is going. I think you should probably just walk towards your team instead of away. Because you don't get this kill if your AD carry is anyone besides Jinx. So let's look at that. So you save Elise, and your Akali is here, and she's walking towards them. So you should also like follow your Akali and beat her back up. Because if you go this way, you're not contributing to the team fight at all. And second of all, if you're running away, you can run towards the blast cone. You know it's up because you have vision of it. So instead of like running towards tower where Rise will see you, and you can just run towards blast cone and hop over it. So it turns out that this is okay because Jinx gets the kill, but in general, you want to either help your team in the fight by walking towards them, like over here, or like just run away so that you won't get killed. This isn't important. So. reason to tornado because you know Pike isn't like it's really low chance to hit Pike, so you should just save it. Like for example, if you had saved it, let's see. And right here, you can tornado and like aim it this way where the teleport is gonna be, and then you can knock whoever it is up right as they teleport in. Elise died. I'm not really sure what's down here that's so interesting, but yeah, I kind of let Jinx die. So it's kind of just like a micro issue. You have to look at the big picture and think about what your goal is in the fight. So in this case, because there's a teleport coming in, you want to make sure your AD carry isn't split up from you guys. So you should like protect your Jinx and like walk with her. And also it's like using your passive, because if you're super far away from your AD carry, then like it's kind of a 1v1 Jinx rise and Jinx isn't gonna win. So just make sure you're paying attention to everyone in the fight. Okay, so I wouldn't ward this because like you don't need vision of the pit. I would ward this bush so that you can see Echo like going this way, or just like ward over the wall. Ward this and then ward over the wall so you can see Echo like running this way. And then I don't think you should be leaving your AD carry alone, because she wants to push, but if she's pushing alone, she's gonna get killed by someone. So basically just make sure your AD carry is safe when they're pushing, otherwise they might die. So holding mid is okay, but I think it's better to just push bot with your AD carry. So let's see that again. So you're warding, and you see a ton of people going topside. So even if you get there, the fight's probably already going to be over, because you have 2 top, 1 mid. They have 3 mid and 1 top, so it's like 3v4, and you don't know where Heimerdinger is. So even if you get there, it's 4v4 at best, and then if you're late, you're not gonna win. So it's better to just trade. So like even if your team loses the fight, you can like trade by pushing bot and making them lose minions and a tower. And also you can farm with your Frostfang because you need gold. Because like you're not really doing anything besides saving this tower from like 100 damage, and you could be doing a ton of damage bot lane.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay. So instead of recalling, well, I should say, since you have 2 wards left, you shouldn't recall. Like, you should always place your wards before you recall, because otherwise, like, I mean, there's just no reason not to have wards out, so you can just like, even though this ward is kind of not very useful right now, you can just put it down and then put a ward here maybe. Because like, vision is better than no vision, and you have 2 wards, so it's like basically free. So there's no reason not to use all your wards before you recall. Wait, what? Oh, that's the... Okay, I was looking at the wrong timer. Where's the dragon timer? Oh, this one. Okay. Yeah, so I still wouldn't ward here because you can get wards of the vision of the surrounding area, like here, behind the pit, and then you'll see them going into the dragon pit. So you don't need like direct vision of dragon. And then since you know dragon's coming up, you should put all your wards around it. So like I said, this one is good in the pixel bush, and then behind the pit is good. And then you can also put one... Well, if we assume Rise isn't here, you can put one right here in the middle of the lane so that you can see where they go after they push out the wave. But since Rise is here, you can just put it in this side bush. But basically, just make sure all your wards are around the objective that's spawning before recalling. Because then you had 2 wards, but you only used 1, so it's kind of a waste. Because now, if they come from here, like you don't know what's in this area, so it's really scary for you. Because you're Janna, and you can't really face check. So you need to make sure you have good vision before you walk towards the objective. And yeah, so like if this Fiora is like a diver like Camille or an assassin like Zed, then Jinx will die because you're not there. And since Jinx doesn't have vision of this area, it's really scary for her to be farming alone. So you should always make sure that your vision makes your AD carry safe and is around the objective that is spawning. So that way your AD carry won't die, and then you'll see if they're doing the objective. Yeah, so because you don't have wards in this area, you don't know what's over here, so it's really scary for you. So since you don't know, you should first put a ward here and then put a ward here, like just like go over here and put it, and then you can try to hit this Squire's Bloom, because if you just hit it, you're at risk of Pyke being in here and catching you, like right here. And also, you don't have to ult, because you know Pyke used R top already, so you're not in danger of being killed. Like basically, if you're not dead when Pyke hooks you, you're probably not gonna die. I mean, like, if there's not multiple people in here already, then it's safe to assume that they're not gonna kill you without Pyke ulti. So what you did was smart. You hid in the bush while Akali was coming, so you didn't scare off the orb. That's pretty smart. Although one micro thing about this fight is I wouldn't use my tornado, because if Fiora parries and stuns Jinx, then she's going to die. So you have to be really careful about using tornado when against Fiora, because you don't want to betray Jinx. So this fight is obviously a bad fight, but it's bad from the beginning. Because, first of all, your jungler's not even here. She's farming her top side.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
And they already did the dragon, so you're basically fighting over nothing. And if you're fighting over nothing, it should either be because you found a pick and they're alone, or because you're just that much stronger and you're not like super fed or anything. I mean, your team isn't super fed, So you shouldn't really be fighting here. You can just ping your team back and leave. Because there's nothing to fight over. And you'll lose the fight. It looks like Pyke trolled, but even then you shouldn't fight. Basically you should only look to fight if there's a good reason. And in this case, since they already got the dragon, there's no reason to fight. As Janna, you want to avoid fighting without ult, because every other support is just going to be more useful than you. So it's really hard to win as Janna without R. Wait, you bought Mobies. Oh no, you had Mobies already. Okay, never mind. 566. Yeah, you sold the Fairy Charm. Yeah, okay. I was just about to say you should sell Fairy Charm so you can finish Ardent Sensor. But you shouldn't buy the Fairy Charm in the first place. That ult was not very optimal. So if we look at this, Echo used all of his moves. He used his dash and his W, and Ryze is pretty far. So if you're gonna ult, then it should be to knock them away. Because if you just ult here, like you're not gonna get anything out of it. Okay, I guess you knocked Echo away, so... what I mean is, like... I'm pretty sure Akali can just run away. Okay, so you should use your move to counter their move. So, because you have R, you have to save it. So, Echo used E and W already. So you have to wait for his move to be back up again before you ult. Otherwise you're countering nothing. So like right here, if you saved R, then you see Echo use his move again. So you can counter it by pressing R here. And then Akali doesn't have to flash. But because you used it too early, then his move came back up and you had no way to counter it. So Akali died. Or, wait. Alright, I guess that works. But still, the idea is you should save your move to counter their move. Because if you counter nothing, it's a waste. Unless you're just getting the heal, but because they're all coming for you, you can't just use it for the heal or you'll die. Ryze trolls. I don't blame you. I might die to that too. Pyke flash. I don't know why he went for you instead of Jinx. Oh well. I don't blame you for that. This doesn't have to do with you, so I'm gonna skip it. Okay, so how much gold do you have? 450? Okay, yeah, this is fine. Ruby Crystal. Although I wouldn't build Redemption. I'm assuming you're building Redemption here. I wouldn't build it because Redemption is just kind of bad. Since they have like basically 3 AP threats, I would go Athene's, or at the very least I would go Fiendish Codex and then Redemption, but I feel like Redemption is kind of bad. Redemption is better for like front to back team fighting where there's no divers to burst your AD carry, but since they have Echo and Pyke, Redemption is not very good. might consider like Mikhail's is pretty good because you can cleanse Heimerdinger, stun or slow, rises, root or slow, echoes slow, and Pike slow, and his E stun. Like Mikhail's is just pretty good in general here because it gives you magic resist for Echo, Rise, Heimerdinger, and it gives you 20% heal and shield power, which is good for mid game for your ults and E, and it gives you the active, which is good for slows. So basically, you don't need Mikhail's only against stuns, you can get it for slows too, because it gives you your 80 carry move speed boost, which is really strong. In this team comp, you're winning off Jinx, so as long as Jinx is alive, you'll probably win. Pretty risky. Yeah, if Rise lands the Q, then Akali dies. Akali dies regardless. It's just risky in general because like Elise and Akali are too low. But I don't think you were making the decision to fight here, so I don't blame you. You played that as well as you could, I think. Except this is kind of troll because you don't know where they are. And Jinx is bot. But you're fighting for no reason, basically, so if we look at that... If you're trying to get the sword, yeah, but... You can always get it later. So if you're trying to... Yeah, so I hope you manage to run away. You should just leave him because, like, let's assume he somehow outduels Fiora with your help. Then the rest of their team is still gonna clean up. So, at best, it's 1 for 2, which isn't worth. So you should just leave because they might go Baron or like try and Baron here. And there's not a lot you can do to stop that. Elise recalled, and Akali just respawned. Or no, Elise and Akali respawned, so they could have gone Baron here. Okay, so when you see them start Dragon, and you see your Elise farming the Krugs, you know there's no hope of stealing this unless Jinx manages to get an ult off. So instead of running towards Dragon, you should run towards the Baron. Not to do it, but to like get vision, because if they're all on Dragon, they can't kill you trying to get vision here, so you should take this opportunity while you can. You can just plop down wards like here, in this pixel bush, in this banana bush, and I guess right in front of the pit, and then recall and get more wards, because right now there's nothing for you to do, so you should just try and get wards around important objectives like the Baron. I think you should run towards the team and make sure that you don't pass them. Look at that. So when you see Akali fighting and Elise is trying to help, you should run towards her. I think were you trying to like run for Echo? Oh no, okay, so like, there's nothing to do here. And your team is fighting, so you should try and like, help your team. Because even if they're like definitely gonna win, you can still get assists. So, you just want to make sure that they don't die. Because Janna's strength is preventing your team's mistakes. So if you're not there, you can't prevent their mistakes. And then you're not taking advantage of your champion. So it goes okay. Like 3 for 3. But if you were there, it might have been a clean ace, or a clean 3 for 0 because you don't have R. Well, it would have been better. For sure. Because of your peel. Okay, so if you guys are going to defend bot, you should make sure your passive applies on Jinx. So like, stand right here and like lead her, so then she can go a little faster. That's like a small thing, but it's pretty important. Just make sure you're using your passive. Okay, and when you sweep the ward, you should let your AD carry kill it. So basically, whoever reveals the ward always gets gold. But if like a teammate kills it, they get the gold too. So you get 30 gold from this, but it could have been 60 gold. Because if your AD carry kills it, she gets 30 gold, and you still get the 30 gold. So you should always let your AD carry kill wards. So like, she could have gotten 40 gold, but you killed the wards, so she didn't get it. Those small things add up. Like if you kill 5 wards, that's like 150 gold. It's like half a kill, so. Whoever reveals the ward with sweep or a pink ward or something like that can share the gold with someone else who kills it. You should be getting vision around Baron. Because they could literally, like, Heimerdinger can just like be on it and you wouldn't know. Yeah, okay. But even if they were on it, it would be too late because Elise wanted to do blue buff instead. And Jinx is recalling. Why is it so laggy? I'm gonna restart this replay. So we were here? No, it was past that. Yeah, okay. Nothing's happening. So instead of being mid, you should be getting vision around Baron because you have 1 ward, and if they clear that, then it's pretty doomed if you're trying to contest because they can just stand in here and you have to walk up eventually so they can pick you off. Assuming they clear this ward. Because if they know that 4 of you guys are bot, you're rush the Baron, and there's nothing you can do. This is pretty chill. Because like, they can Baron, and you will lose. Yeah, they pinged it. Pike pinged it, but I think his team's not on the same page. Okay, so you should be getting vision around the Baron. So like pink right here, in this bush, ward here, ward in this bush, and then you can like shoot a tornado here, and then if it hits nothing, you can quickly put down a ward here. And if there's someone in there, then obviously you don't want to go in there. Okay, so that's like it's like the same thing as before. You don't want to use your ult unless you're just using it for the heal, or if you're using it to counter their move. So in this case, this was a bad value ulti because your teammates don't need to be healed, and Rise doesn't have any moves you can counter. So your ult was low value. Luckily, they overextend, and your Jinx cleans up, because she has 3 items, and she's extremely strong. So you guys can, yeah, you guys do Baron. So at this point, I would say the game is won, because your Jinx is super fed, and she has Janna, and they can't kill Jinx as long as you're next to her with ulti. Oh, okay, like ults, nothing. That's a reasonable ulti. I mean, it really doesn't really matter like, what you do as long as you survive and you make sure Jinx survives. I guess the small thing is it's kind of low value because you aimed it in the area where your team wasn't going to be in. Like you should just put it on your team so they can be healed. And if you're using Redemption to get vision of this bush, you're sitting on 3 wards, so you can just put a ward in there really quick. Game is pretty over now.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
That's pretty random. Jinx is Giga fed. It's kind of hard to lose. Oh my god, that's Dexter.
Inhibitor has been destroyed.
Let's see you guys go out. Yeah, keep that in good. Yeah. You guys should leave. Oh. Yeah, you should leave. Because you already took these 2 inhibs. So you don't really need to fight. I don't know if you guys can end. But yeah, I overstayed. But you'll still win, obviously, because you can just group as 5, top lane, and then end the game. So that's fine, but in general, the safer play is just recall after you take these 2 inhibs, because there's nothing else to do in that area. What? Alright. I mean, so that should never happen. And like, Jinx should never be alone. Like, there's no reason. Well, okay, so first of all, there's no reason for all of you guys to be here. The mid inhib is already down, so unless you're ending, you shouldn't be mid. And the second of all, you should be protecting your AD carry so that like this situation doesn't happen. Like, she wins because she's full build and she's level 18. But even then, it's super close, right? Because a 2.5 item Fiora almost outduels full build level 18 Jinx, which I think should happen. But if you're there, like, you're not risking it. I think if Fiora played it better, she might have won. But you should always be with your AD carry, or make sure your AD carry is with you. Because you have to think about what your goal is, like what's the next objective. And Jinx has the right idea, she's going to push top because these 2 inhibs are down already. So you should make sure you're following her. Like, even if your Jinx is doing the wrong thing, like pushing mid, you should still be with her, because if she dies, it's really hard to win 5v5. So just make sure your AD carry is always alive. Wipe them. Okay, so this game you played pretty well overall, but I think you could have built a little better. Like, you can rush AP for lane. And then second of all, you have to make sure you're getting good value out of your ultimates, because if you don't use it to counter something, then it's basically just a heal. And if your team doesn't need healing, or if you can't channel it very long, then it's wasted. And then third, you have to make sure you're getting vision around the objectives. So, like if Dragon's coming up, you want to make sure your wards are all around Dragon. Or if your AD carry is pushing, you want to make sure your wards are in a place where your AD carry will see if someone's trying to kill her. And then if Baron is up, you should make sure you're always trying to get control of the place you're going to walk in towards Baron. So like if you're red side, you ward here, you ward this bush so you can see if they come from mid lane, and then you try and ward here by like shooting a tornado in there, and then if no one's in there you can ward. So basically it's getting vision, getting good value of your abilities, and then remembering your win condition, which is keeping your AD carry alive.